Alright, so what we're going to be talking about today is function operations and composition of functions. So something you're going to need to write down in your journal is we are going to find all of these for f of x. Alright, find the sum, the difference, the product, and the quotient. Alright, so when you do this, if you have some twistables or some highlighters, it'll probably be useful. We're going to do f of x equals 2x squared plus 8, and g of x equals 5x minus 6. And we're just going to do each one. It won't take that long. If you just follow along, we'll make sure you get that taken care of so you know what to do when you run into these. But here's what you need to understand. If I say, what is f plus g of x, that means I'm taking f of x and I am adding g of x. All right, so one thing you need to make sure you understand is these mean the exact same thing. So when we take f of x, which is 2x squared plus 8, and we add g of x, which is 5x minus 6, all we got to do is just combine the like terms. So what does f of g of x ultimately equal? 2x squared, there's no more x squareds, plus 5x, 8 minus 6 is 2. So that would be my answer. Okay? However, it gets a little bit more complicated when you say, what is f minus g of x? So what does f minus g of x actually mean? It means f of x minus g of x. And order really does matter here when you're doing this, okay? So f of x is 2x squared plus 8. I'm going to put the minus sign. We've got to take away g of x. Now this is where I'm going to open up a parentheses, because now I'm going to plug in 5x minus 6. But you have to take away both terms. So even though most students remember to take away the 5x, they'll forget to take away the negative 6, because a negative times a negative is a positive. So our final answer here would be 2x squared minus a 5x plus a 14. And that would be, it's not a very good arrow, f minus g of x is 2x squared minus 5x plus 14. Okay. Now, something you could do just to check yourself to make sure you're doing this, you could go to Desmos, and I'm going to type in f of x equals 2x squared plus 8, and I'm going to type in g of x equals 5x minus 6. All right, so we can see we have a quadratic and a linear. Now when we combine them, if I say, what is f of x plus g of x, they will add them together, and they'll form when they combine these, it makes a parabola because you have a quadratic. But here's what we could do. We could check our answer if you want to. You can kind of check your answer. What was our first answer? 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. So we're going to just type in 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. And what do you notice about the black function and the red? They're the same. So it lets us know we actually combine them correctly. All right? All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Let's go on to the next problem real quick. Hold on. Let's go and move down. Now we're going to do f times g of x. All right, so hopefully you can kind of see the pattern here. If I say, what is f times g of x, that means we're taking f of x and we are multiplying g of x together. So now we have 2x squared plus 8, and we have g of x, which is 5x minus 6. We're going to have to do the FOIL method here. Just remember the FOIL method is the first. I'll just kind of redo it right here. F represents the first products. And our first products are 2x squared and 5x. So 2x squared times 5x is 10x cubed. Then we're going to do the outer products. Remember, that was the first, the f. This is the outer products, also sometimes called the outside. All right, so we have 2x squared times negative 6. And just like this was 10x cubed, this is going to be negative 12x squared. So I'll put minus 12x squared. Then we're going to go ahead and do the inner terms. So there's the I for the inside terms. So that's 8 times a 5x, which is 40x. So I'll put plus 40x. And then let's just focus on the last terms. The last terms are these. Sorry, it's the L. And they are 8 times negative 6, which is negative 48. And so there is f times g of x, right? So how do we check this one? Like, how do I check to see if these are right? You could technically just go over here and put, you know what? We're going to put multiply. What is f of x times g of x? You can kind of see there is a, if I zoom out, there's the black line at home. Okay. So let's go ahead and just type it in. Ready? It was 10x to the power of 3. And then it was minus 12x squared. All right. And then it was plus 40x. Okay. And last, minus a 48. All right. And then you can kind of see that these two line up perfectly with, these two line up perfectly with each other. All right, and you could even check, you could check a table, see if the tables match. And you can kind of see that these tables right here, these tables match. So that's what you can do to check your answer to see if things work or if they don't work. All right, and last but not least, let's go ahead and do the last part, which is, what is f divided by g of x? Written like this, though, f divided by g of x. Well, that means we're taking f of x and we're dividing it by g of x. All right, so just for the sake of the video, I'm not going to simplify this because right now there's really no common factors. We're just going to put 2x squared plus 8 over 5x minus 6. 2x squared minus 8 over 5x minus 6. Now there are some alternate forms for this, but I'm just going to leave it like that. If you were going to get one that you would be able to factor, it would look something like this. Let's say f of x equaled x squared plus 5x plus 6. And they said g of x was equal to x plus 2. And they said, what's f divided by g of x? Then you could take f of x, place it over g of x, factor it. Very common factors. X plus 2, x plus 3. If you don't know how to factor, really simple. It's just like what two numbers add up to 5 but multiply together to equal 6. I'm just doing that because the in front of this is a 1, and that makes it very easy. But you can see that these would cancel out. And so f of g of x would equal x plus 3. That would be the answer, but the domain would basically mean set of all x values such that x is an element of the real number system. So all real numbers, except it could not equal a negative 2 because there would be what's called a removable discontinuity, also known as a hole in the graph. Okay, so there's a removable discontinuity at x equals negative 2. So the domain would be changed, but the quotient would be just x plus 3. So a lot of times when they're having you guys do these operations, you'll be able to simplify it. On this particular example, there is an alternate form, but I'd have to go into long division, and I really don't. I mean, that's something we'll do later anyways, but just understand it means divide. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go down to what's called operations on functions. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do what is f of g of x and what is g of f of x. All right, so we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to go ahead and do it for problem number 6. I'm going to go ahead and do it there, because that's a little bit trickier one. All right, so once again, I'm going to highlight this in blue. Okay, there's f of x, and here's g of x. So now we're going to do what's called a composition of functions. So we are going to do what's called f of g, all right, f of g of x, which basically means you're taking g of x and you're plugging it into f of x. You're taking this function g of x right here, and you're going to plug it in wherever there's a value of x. That's what we're going to be doing on this. But we're also going to do g of, and I'll make sure that's an open. It's supposed to be the of symbol. I know it looks like it says fog and golf, but that's not what it's saying. Okay, just remember you put a little, that little symbol right there means of. Okay, and this symbol right here means of f of g of x. And this is g of f of x. And that means you're taking f of x and you're plugging it in to g of x. So here we're going to take the blue function and plug it into the red function. Here we're taking the red function and plugging it into the blue function. So we're just going to do both of these, and that'll be the end of the video. So hopefully you'll understand what to do from there. But make sure that you guys have these down in your journal, that you know that these mean the exact same thing. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start with this one. That says f of g of x. So here I'm going to put a 3. I'm going to open up a big fat parentheses, put minus 2, open parentheses, plus 5. And inside of the parentheses, I'm going to put 2x minus 1. Okay. On this other one, I'm going to start with 2. All right. I'm going to open up a parentheses, put minus 1. And this one's going to be pretty easy. I'm just going to put 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. Now, just remember, this is g of f of x. That's what this one is equal to. And this one is f of g of x. That's what this one is equal to. All right, so let's go and do the easiest one first. I'll do a better job of writing that because you're probably having a hard time seeing that. Let's try this again. G of f of x. There we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and do this one. It's a lot easier. All I have to do is just distribute the 2 to each one. So I get 6x squared minus 4x plus 10 minus 1. So my final answer would just be 6x squared minus 4x plus 1, and I'm done. So what is g of f of x equal to? 6x squared minus 4x plus 1. Just taking the red function and doing what? taking the blue function and plugging it into the red function. Here I'm taking the red function, I'm plugging it into the blue function. Now this one's going to take a little bit more time, but it's not that bad. I'm going to go ahead and just distribute just to get it out of the way. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4x. Negative 2 times 1 is positive 2 plus 5. So one thing we're going to have to do on this one is we have to use, this is the sum of squares, but we'll go ahead and use the FOIL method just to make it easier for you guys instead of doing the pattern for the sum of squares. So right now, I've got a 3. All right, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. 1 times negative 2x is another negative 2x, and negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So you're left with 3 times 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. And then over here, if we simplify this, we got minus 4x, and 2 plus 5 is 7. So once again, we got to distribute all the way through, which gives us 12x squared minus 12x plus 3 minus 4x plus 7. And if we finish things out, we got 12x squared, negative 12, negative 4 gives us negative 16, and 3 plus a 7 gives us a 10. Whew. So that right there is f of g of x. Now we're going to go ahead and type this into Desmos to see if we actually got it right. We're going to see if this matches up with f of g of x. So here we go. We're going to have to go ahead and type this into Desmos. 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. So I'm going to go to Desmos. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and type in 3x squared minus 2x plus 5. And then I'm going to go back over here and put 2x minus 1 on this guy. You know what, I'm just going to close it out. Try it again. G of x equals 2x minus 1. All right. And then I'm going to type in f of g of x. And I'm going to change colors, though. I'll make it red. Okay. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So f of g of x is this red one right there. All right. So let's see what our final answer. What did we get as our final answer? Let's scroll down real quick. I got 12x squared minus 16x plus 10. 12x squared minus 16x plus 10. What do you notice about f of g of x and the purple function of 12x squared? These are equivalent to each other. So that's how you could check it in Desmos to make sure that you got it right. Now the last thing this asked us for was, hey, we need to evaluate it at f of g equals 3. All right, what is f of g equal to 3? Well, that's going to be very, very, very simple. All we got to do is just plug in a 3, and we'll call it a day. So what would you do? Right here, we just evaluate it at a 3. Just plug in a 3. So our answer would be 70. So what is f of g of 3? It would be 70. You plug it in, which basically means you plug it in this function, and you evaluate it, and you plug it into the other function. All right. So once again, what's the review? Make sure you know f of g of x equals this right here. G of f of x equals this right here. And all you're doing is you're taking one function and plugging it into the other function. And we'll have more practice. We'll be working on the Khan Academy. We'll have more practice doing it. So you'll have, hopefully, be well versed in it. Y'all have a good day.